Alright guys, here's our review of Fair Division, and I'm going to try and do it a little bit differently. I'm going to type as I'm doing it. This might be a little more helpful, but please keep in mind I've already done the math ahead of time. No one's expecting you to do it in real time as fast as I'm doing it, and neither would I. Please use your calculator and make sure your numbers are right. So my first step is to get the total bids of each number. All right, so whether it's an item or a job, we're always doing the total bid and fair share first. So as I add across, this one is 11,200. This total bid is 9,600. This total bid is 9,800. And this total bid is 11,200. And then for fair share, we're always dividing by the amount of people, not items. So we're dividing by 4 because there's 4 people. And that makes this 2,800. When we divide by 4, 2,400. When we divide by 4, 2,450 when we divide by 4. And then finally 2,800 when we divide by 4. Now my next step is I'm going to give away the items. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to try and highlight the numbers or the prices of who's getting what. So remember, it's the highest bid with items. So Joe gets the car. Mike gets the theater tickets. The jewelry is going to go to Steve. And the television is also going to go to Steve. And then finally, the computer is going to go to Mike. And yes, it's true that Tom's not going to get anything. So we'll deal with what happens there. So right away, I'm going to tell you what Joe gets. Joe gets a car. But since the car is more than his fair share, he's going to pay the difference, which is $2,200. Since Tom does not get anything, as we learned earlier, he's going to get his full fair share of $2,400. Mike gets the tickets, we'll call it ticks, and the computer. And I'm going to add that together. That's $3,000. And that's more than his fair share. So he's going to have to pay that difference of $550. All right. And then finally, Steve is going to get the jewelry and the TV or television, and his items are $4,200. So when we subtract $2,800 from the $4,200, he's going to actually pay $1,400. So remember, when the items are more than your fair share, you pay. When the items are less than your fair share, you receive. Now in this case, only one person receives and the other 3 people pay. I'm going to put that over here as best I can here. So I add up all the money that's being paid out. The $2,200, the $550, the $1,400, all together is $4,150. And below that, we're going to subtract the amount being received. And that amount is $2,400. Okay. And after I subtract, I am left with a total surplus of $1,750, which I have to divide by all 4 people, which means each person gets an additional $437.50. Let me move that kind of back here so we don't go to the second line. So there we go. All right. And now I get to my final answers where I distribute that surplus. Joe still gets the car. Now, whenever you're paying, you subtract that surplus. So now Joe only pays $1,762.50. Tom, whenever you're getting money, you get that surplus. Okay, so $2,400 plus the additional surplus is $2,837.50. That's what he's getting. Mike is getting the tickets, the computer, and because he paid $550, we subtract that surplus from him, and now he only pays $112.50. And And Steve, who's getting the jewelry and the television, pays $962.50. And if you want to check your work, if you add $1,762.50 plus $112.50 plus $962.50, that'll equal $2,837.50. And that's exactly what Tom gets. Remember that payment always has to equal what's getting paid in the end. So you literally should know whether you got this right at the end. Now with jobs, the final answers and the chart, total bid, fair share, are the same thing. But who does what job, as well as how we're paying, are reversed. So we do need to be careful. Once again, our total bids here, we have 4,200 here, just adding across. 4,200 again here, 4,400 again, and then 4,800. Okay, and now we're going to divide all four bids by 4. We're going to get 1,050 for our first two fair shares, and then 1,100 for my fair share, and my 1,200 for my fair share. Because there's 4 people, I'm dividing by 4. Now with jobs, it's the lowest bid that gets it. Mike gets cutting the grass. Joe gets washing the dishes. Joe gets cleaning the bathrooms. Steve is going to take care of the garage. And Mike is going to take out. Okay, now, in terms of giving away the items here, okay, Joe does 2 jobs. He's got the dishes and he's got the bathrooms. And since his items are more than his fair share, he gets the difference. So in this case, he's going to get a difference, not pay, because his jobs are more than his fair share. So it's the reverse of items. Your jobs are more than your fair share, you get the difference. So Joe gets $650. Tom, who doesn't do anything, literally just pays his full fair share, which is $1,500 or $1,050. Mike is going to be doing the grass and the trash, which is $1,600 worth of work. So he's going to get $500 because it's $500 more than his fair share. Steve does 1 job, the garage, but because his job is less than his fair share, he has to pay the difference of $900. And now, at this point, it goes back to the same things we were doing before. We add up the total amount being paid out, $1,950. And then we subtract the total amount that has to be received, which is $1,150. When I subtract those two, I get a total of $800, and that's our surplus. $800, we divide it by 4, so therefore each person is going to get $200. So now the items, or the jobs I should say, stay the same. Joe has the dishes, bathrooms, and when you get money, okay, and you're getting that surplus, you just add the surplus onto what you get. You get $850. When you're paying, you subtract the surplus from what you're paying. So Tom pays $850. Mike is still doing the grass and the trash, and he's going to get $700. And Steve, who is doing the garage, pays $700. So this one works out very nicely. Clearly, what's being received is equal to what's being paid out. Hopefully there's no questions with this. I will be doing a second video with the second 2 problems.